Well, as you can see, we have Vegas Live with Ninon here, and also we're down here at the Peppermill, which is this fantastic restaurant in Las Vegas. If you haven't been here, you've got to come down here. It's right by the Encore and right by the Wynn, and so I might just mention all the hotels, Caesar's Palace, all of them, MGM, all of them out there. But that's where we are, right down here. We're actually sitting here in the Elvis Presley booth. This is not the same seat, but it's the same booth. And I have my reoccurring guest, which is Lance. Lance, you are just amazing. You amaze me this guy, he goes from one to the next, and he always finds to reinvent yourself. But you went through a very big dramatic change this time. But to me, because I talk to him so much, it's not surprising.
Well, that's what I hear. It's surprising to me.
Surprising to you, it's not surprising to me.
Yeah.
Only because I was on the other end of listening to a lot of when we would sit and talk, and you always gravitated always towards the Bible and the belief in God and Jesus and all this. And now he really has graduated to being, are you a pastor yet?
Yeah, we have a ministry, imagine
Yeah.
that. Which is funny, because I was an atheist. So that...
Oh, I never knew that part.
Yeah, oh, no one really did. That's where it's... See, it's funny. You can
That
see a
is
full
funny. So that's
circle.
a complete
That's
circle.
a complete change. No one was more surprised.
But you've always listened to God, because I know we've had these conversations, and you've always kind of listened to His message that comes into you. And I don't know if we do that out there enough.
We absolutely... I mean, when it first happened, because I was an atheist for 20 years, and then I lost my wife. And I was still thinking I was doing something right. My pride was all over the place. That's when I actually got involved in cannabis. And I tell people the only reason I understood cannabis was because of God. I didn't study it, could have cared less about it, but got into it.
But you got into it actually because you got into it to cure
my wife
your
got
wife.
sick, correct.
Because your wife had
Stage 4 cancer.
stage 4 cancer, and you actually got her cured.
Well, not so fast. We provided relief. And that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Man can provide relief.
You provided relief. She came home, and through taking the cannabis, she became very coherent, because before the cannabis, she wasn't that coherent.
Oh, no. She had brain damage.
Brain damage,
it was
everything.
It was a whole gambit of things that were going on.
And of course, we're talking about the cannabis, for your health, obviously. Not recreational cannabis. There's people getting all this mixed up, aren't they?
It's all over the place.
I'm not.
They're just interchangeable semantics. That's all.
It's just the words you use.
Words.
It's just words. That's all it is words. It's all the same thing, but it's just words. But actually, she sort of got better, and then all of a sudden, she did pass away.
And so I was, surprised, because we started seeing results, and I was at that time still didn't believe anything. Thought I was doing something special.
Yeah.
And we saw neurogenesis in the brain. We saw movement. This is something that was almost in a vegetative state.
Yes.
That was making this progress. At the time, we're relating it to the cannabis.
Yes.
And as time went on, even before she had passed away, we were working with lots of people, because it was word of mouth. See, God's precise. We never advertised, so people just started finding us, and we started finding people. So, when she eventually
Word
passed,
of mouth.
Word of mouth. I was in a dark place, obviously, after that, and I got to commit suicide. I mean, you get to that point, you're just, I give up.
Yeah.
And so...
But you didn't.
I didn't. I was woken up, and that's when I first really heard God. And that changed everything.
But wait a second, you heard Him. Mm-hmm. What made you listen to Him?
I don't know how to conceptualize an experience, but the key thing is this, is that you understand you've been wrong. It's the same way when someone has a revelation.
You kind of admitted to yourself that you probably always had that within you.
Well, he actually answered questions. See, truth is in us. We had to learn lies.
Of course.
We have to learn lies, which is what's funny.
Well, if we listen, I have my favorite thing. I'm going to say it right now because it's this appropriate moment.
Of course.
What's inside of your hair, which is the truth. What you verbally put out there could be anything or whatever you want it to be, will be your destination. Remember that, the triangle. Truth. What you put out there will be your destination.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
What you put out, that's where
what
it comes
you put
from. That's
out.
what defiles someone.
And
comes
it's
out.
what
Comes from your heart.
we know what's in here, and sometimes we know what's in here could be very damaging to the person we're going to talk to. So we're nice to them. So we're contradicting something. But it doesn't matter what you do out there, because whatever you say and however you do it, you're going to end up with your destination. And that's
and that's why we shouldn't judge. Because we have to fix ourselves. How can we sit there and look at someone else and people say, well, you're judging me? No, I'm not. I'm just a sinner that said yes. I was a catastrophe of a person.
So you were judging?
Well, it wasn't even that. I look back on my life, and if I was, you get to a point you realize, wow, I was worthy of death. People are like, oh no, that pride has to be shattered. Before you can break through. Correct. And then you start understanding, you're looking at other people, and you're like, they're just going through a struggle.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, if a child's drowning, would you throw them a life jacket?
I
Or
would.
say
I
they
mean,
can't
I'd
swim?
jump in the water and save them. See,
Or,
that's where
or yell at
I
them for not swim. See, that's the key thing. It's
That's the
that how we
difference.
look at someone else. If you know something and you can
Yes.
share that with someone else,
Yeah.
and it helps them,
Yes, absolutely.
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you help them? Oh, I never understand that. I never understand why people won't help other people. Because I do it all the time, but I don't do it for any other reason. It just comes very naturally to, I'm going to go and help them. I don't even think of, the consequences. No, I don't think of anything. I just do it.
No.
What do you think put you into this dark place at the very beginning, though? Was that your childhood? Was that...
No,
the reason I'm asking you that is for my people.
Oh, I can answer that. That's easy. See, I was raised Catholic and Jewish, so I had a lot of questions. No one could answer them. So I went to science and logic and all that garbage.
Yes.
Which as time goes on, you're still not getting questions answered. You're getting theories. That's all it is. It's all theory.
It's all theory, yes.
And then, and I had a great life. I'm not complaining. I went through trauma, obviously, since that loss.
Of course,
but then you start, and then people understand, well, I don't believe in God because this happened. I go, well, that's your path. See, that was the only way that I was going to wake up, was because of the death of my wife. And someone else can't look into your life and say, well, that's why that happened. It's not for you, it's for me.
It's funny you should say that, because I had a nephew who was only 29. He got stung by a jellyfish, and he died within 30 seconds in Asia.
Yeah.
And everybody was really, 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 really upset about it. And I looked at it in a very different way. I looked at it and I thought, well, he was taken because maybe here on Earth wasn't his place to be. And that's how I thought about it. So anybody to me that dies is not, oh, poor things. It's like a relief for them. We are the ones that stay behind and suffer.
We're still here.
We suffer for them because they're gone, but at the same time, I don't look at it that way. I look at it that they're in I will say a better place, maybe. I don't know. I can't judge that, and I don't judge. But I always feel that they go for a reason, and he left for a reason.
And that's the thing, the way that we look at stuff. Man tends to think we know our time. We don't. We have no idea. Right? No one does. And so then mortality snap back in when someone passes away. But that's why it says live each day. We have an imagination of the future. But how often have things worked out the way you thought it was? Like work. It never works out that way.
Never works out the way
And
you
so
think
when you
it's
start
supposed to.
seeing that, where someone lives till they're 10, someone else lives till they're 100.
Yes.
Jesus knows our time. We don't.
Yes.
He has the keys. We don't. And so that takes control away, which is funny because that's what people stress about. Them not having control, but you don't.
So now, so we got through that. Now you went through the cannabis, which was your place of relief because of your wife passing and because of her sickness, and now you've kind of got through all that, which was a lot to get through. Yeah. And you will never forget that. I mean, that's
it always stays with you.
It'll always stay with me. My husband passed away, it stays with me. I've got another friend of mine, his wife passed away. It'll always stay with him, but try to put it in the right place.
Correct.
To understand it. So now he has his own ministry. So
if you would have told me
this
that,
is like I'm like, huh?
I'd have been like, if someone would have told me you're pretty.
But I'm not surprised.
Well, I am, because I was. And after years of working in cannabis and working with patients, and people say, but you were doing a good thing, you were being compassionate. And I go, I get that. But there's scripture in there where, when Jesus is about to be arrested and crucified, Peter goes, you're not going anywhere. I'm paraphrasing. And Jesus turns to him and goes, get behind me, Satan. People go, that doesn't make any sense. Peter didn't want him to die, but he was interfering with the will of God.
Yes, because that's what he wanted. He had sent him down there.
You got it.
It's the way it was done, I think, because people saw how it was done. But maybe it wasn't as bad as we all saw.
We don't understand God's plan. We barely understand how to eat right. And we're going to try to figure out what he's thinking.
Well, I pray to God all the time because he does the most crazy things.
Because you've seen miracles. We all have. Even with patients that you've had on the show.
Oh,
remember Lance?
Seen miracles.
The other Lance, they started to realize when they're looking at their... Because I'll tell you a recent thing. He goes in, after 2 strokes, a tumor on his pituitary gland disappears. And people go, that's the cannabis oil. And I go, well, here's the next part. His blood work comes back. The doctors are looking at him, they go, you can't be alive. It's medically impossible for you to be walking around because you have 0 testosterone. So we have, when people hear about faith healings, they go, that's something. We have so many people that they're seeing themselves. We have another patient, 70. Bone cancer, brain cancer, liver cancer, hep C, cirrhosis, diabetes.
Holy moly.
Here's the thing. He's cured of all of it. I'm sorry, that's not cannabis oil.
But it's within, and I always say, what your thoughts are, the thoughts you put into your body is how you're going to live. If you're going to have ugly thoughts out there, and you're going to lie, and you're going to cheat, and you're going to do all these, that's going to work on your body. That's going to tear your whole body down.
Yes, but the world has normalized that stuff. See, we have to look. It goes against what the normal thought is.
I think it's pills and things, a lot of drugs, a lot of stuff.
I mean, look at it. Lie to get ahead, steal to get ahead.
And also
put the
marijuana,
people-
well not marijuana, well yeah, marijuana and also, you know, taking these different drugs and everything else so that you could live a fanciful life. I said, why would you want to do that? Why don't you just live a real life?
That's the thing. People want an illusion.
So how can people, since you've now got your own ministry, how's it going? It's going good?
It's going. We're expanding every day. It's
Every
crazy.
day.
I never would have thought
Are you
that.
do you have a building? Or
Yes.
Okay,
We're at different
where
places.
can people come to you?
They
see
can
you?
find us online at compassionawarenessproject.org. So the website stayed the same, just the cannabis kind
Website
of
is
shifted.
exactly the same,
Yes, but they can
except
contact us.
all the leaves have gone out.
All the leaves have gone out. I've
and
been
all
away
the
from
prayers
that.
have come in.
Yeah. And you saw over time, as faith was getting injected into it, it
Yes.
just was the next step.
Yes, I see a lot of people. I'm not going to preach to sort of believe in God and to believe in Jesus and believe in all that. I'm not going to do that. That you have to do yourself, and you have to understand that. But at the same time, I do see miracles. I don't call them miracles myself. I call them everyday life.
Absolutely.
It's
It's
everyday
natural
life.
to us. It's
When you,
supernatural to
yeah,
others.
when you understand how you know, to help somebody else. Don't think, well, I'm not helping them. You know, don't have that attitude. You know, just go over and help them. What difference does it make?
Yeah, there's no button. It's I
And
believe.
it sure makes
but-
you feel good.
Of course. You
Makes
can
you
see the
feel
difference
good.
when people
I
actually
can see the
change.
difference with you actually.
Yeah?
You're far more relaxed because I think you've now come to the place where you should be. And now you have that big relief of, I've gone through all this, whatever you went through.
You see where yourself is purposed, and that's the
So
thing.
what message would you give people out there? I've had 3 people on today actually, you're the third one. They've all made these changes all of a sudden. And it's quite funny, I feel like I'm in a change day.
Yeah.
What would you like to tell, especially the younger generation, how to kind of maybe, if things aren't going right, to change? How?
Seek truth. Don't listen to me. You have to seek it for yourself. That's the key
Within.
thing. Yeah, and go to the Word of God. Like I said, when people have questions, well, I don't understand this, ask Him.
Yeah.
You have the ability to communicate with God. You don't need a mediator.
And you don't need to
do
go.
that.
You don't need to go to church. You don't need to go anywhere for that. There is no place to go. But I would advise one place to go. Find a place wherever you're living that you're comfortable in. I seem to have ended up. I seem to have ended up in, and I've moved like 3 or 4 times. Ended up in my bathroom, and I'm always facing out of the door. It's the strangest thing.
funny.
And it always ends up the same place, and I never plan it. But it kind of, I thought, okay, I'll
It's the
pray.
most natural place.
Oh, I'm back to where I was before, but just a different bathroom. This is quite fun. So it can be anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And just trust in yourself. And I think that's the greatest word. Trust in yourself,
Trust in the Lord.
which is the Lord. Yeah, trust in yourself.
dwells
which
in
is
us.
the Lord. Of course, He's in there.
Absolutely.
Trust in yourself. Lance,
Ninon.
he's amazing, isn't he?
Ah.
He's wonderful. By the way, you have your own show too.
I do. Look at that. I'm
What's it
telling
called?
you. Hope in the Truth.
Hope in the Truth. And where can people see it?
They can see that on Facebook. It's on
Facebook,
Roku,
same as where I am.
Apple
Just
TV,
look,
all
just look
this.
for Lance.
You do. You'll find us that
You'll
way.
find him. You'll find Lance. Thank you, Lance.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Good to see you. We'll be right back.